Hey everybody, today we're going to read a story called Where Did My Clothes Come From? This was written by Chris Butterworth and it's illustrated by Lucia Gaglotti. So we're going to find out how people make clothes and where do they get the material to make those clothes. So let's see what happens in this book. And you can see a little sticker on my book. I bought this from a sale from, originally the book came from the Seattle Public Library. Seattle, Washington is far away. But if you look at all these pictures of clothes here, you see overalls and bathing suits and scarves, mittens, coats, shorts, pants, all kinds of different things you'd wear in all different types of weather. But let's look first of all. Let's look at these flip-flops. Would you wear flip-flops when it's cold outside? No, you want to wear flip-flops when it's warm outside, not when it's cold. Now what about this hat and gloves? When it's warm or when it's cold? Yeah, definitely when it's cold because the mittens and a cap like this will keep you nice and warm. Would you wear a bathing suit when it's cold outside? Nope, not so much. You'd need to wear a big heavy jacket when it's cold. Bathing suits wear when you're going swimming when it's hot outside, or maybe you're going swimming inside. Then you could wear it even if it's cold, if the pool is heated. Where did my clothes come from? Written by Chris Butterworth, and the illustrations are by Lucia Gagito. I can't even say it now. Gagiti. Anyway, hard for me to say that one. Wouldn't it be great if you could wear your favorite clothes all the time? But you need different clothes for different weather and for doing different things. You need warm clothes for cold days and cool clothes for hot days and clothes to keep you dry in the rain. You need fancy clothes and clothes to get messy in. But what are clothes made of? And where did they come from? What are your jeans made of? Your jeans are made of cotton, and cotton grows on bushes. The cottonseed needs lots of sun and water to grow into a bush. It takes about 10 weeks for a flower to bloom. And after the flower dies, the seed pod, called a cotton boil, swells and ripens. So here's the flower that grows on a cotton bush. And then when the flower dies off, it opens up into this cotton boil. After a few more weeks, the boil splits open and soft, snowy white cotton fibers puff out. The boils are picked by hand or machine. The machine, called a gin, gets rid of the seeds that are tangled in the cotton fibers. The clean cotton is put into bales and taken to the spinning mill. So here, this is the cotton gin. Cotton comes out in the one side and the seeds come out the other. So then they load the cotton bales onto a machine and take it to a factory. Then these cotton fibers are combed straight on rollers with steel pins. This is called carding. Then the straight fibers are pulled into a soft, thick rope. Next, the spinning machine stretches the fibers and twists them into a single thread called yarn. In another mill, the yarn is dyed into a bath of purpley blue dye. Now it's ready to be woven into cloth. The cotton yarn is woven into cloth on a loom. Then the cloth is cut into shapes. So you have the rectangles that are going to be belt loops. You've got a big long rectangle that's going to be the waistband. You have a piece that's cut out right here that's called the yoke, These are going to be the pockets, and these are the legs of your jeans. And when they have all those, these are going to sew those shapes into your jeans. Your jeans are strong to wear and strong enough to stand up to rough stuff. Clothes are made from other plants too. Linen is made from the stalks of flax plants. It is some of the oldest cloth in the world. Ancient Egyptians would wrap their mummies in it, and the Romans wore linen togas. The stalks of hemp plants can be made into cloth too. It's so strong that soldiers' uniforms used to be made of it. What is your sweater made of? Your sweater is made of wool. It's the long hair from a sheep. The sheep's wool is cut off once a year. It doesn't hurt the sheep. She's probably glad to be cool again. Raw wool is dirty and greasy, so it's taken to a mill and washed well. This is called scouring. So once it's clean, the dry wool can be dyed. So the wool goes into this machine to scouring, then they squeeze out all the water, and then they dry it. Then the carding machine, just kind of like the cotton one, combs the fibers straight and rolls them into a thick, soft rope of wool. Next, the spinning machine gently pulls out the stretchy wool fibers and twists them into yarn. The yarn is thin, so several strands are twisted together to make wool that is thick enough to knit into clothes. Knitting can be done by machine or by hand. Maybe someone in your family knit your sweater. The wool kept the sheep warm, and now it's a sweater that's keeping you cozy. Around the world, people make wool from different long-haired animals. The yaks in Tibet, bison in North America, camels in China, llamas and alpacas in South America, musk oxen in Alaska. Cashmere goats grow extra soft hair that makes silky, fine sweaters. And the hair from Angora goats is made into soft mohair wool for clothes and favorite teddy bears. Angora rabbit wool is really fluffy. What is your party dress made of? Some fancy dresses are made of silk. Silk is the lightest cloth of all, and it's a fiber made by insects. Silkworms are not really worms. They're the caterpillar of a small white moth. Farmers breed thousands of them, feeding them the leaves of mulberry trees. Each silkworm makes a single silk thread and winds it into a cocoon around its body. This single thread can be a mile long. The cocoons are dried, then softened in hot water. The superfine silk threads are gently unrolled and wound around a reel. These silk threads are pulled and twisted together to make a thicker, stronger yarn. Then the silk can be dyed bright colors before being woven into cloth on a loom. Silk can be made into different kinds of cloth: floaty silk, shiny satin, soft taffeta, or rich velvet. In any form, it's ready to be made into your party dress, perfect for a special occasion, and you will feel special when you wear it. What is your soccer uniform made of? Your soccer uniform is made of fibers invented by scientists. That's why they're called synthetic or artificial fibers. They have scientific names like polyester and nylon. Synthetic fibers start as a mixture of chemicals that make a kind of sticky syrup. Inside a machine, this syrup is squeezed through tiny holes into thin strands that harden into fibers. See how it's coming out? Kind of like Play-Doh comes out. The fibers are pulled over rollers and twisted to make a thicker, stronger yarn. Then the yarn is wound onto reels. Now the yarn is ready to be dyed and woven into cloth. Cloth made of synthetic is great for sports clothes. They wash easily, they dry fast, and don't need ironing. So whoever washes your clothes love synthetics too. What is your fleece jacket made out of? Don't throw away that plastic bottles. If you recycle them, they can be turned into fleece. It takes about 12 bottles to make your fleece jacket. At the recycling plant, the plastic is sorted into different colors. Then it's chopped into tiny pieces. So it goes into the recycling bin, goes to the factory. After it's cleaned, they chop them into little tiny pieces. Then they get washed and dried. Then all those little tiny pieces are melted into a sticky syrup called polyester. This syrup is squeezed through tiny holes and comes out as threads that cool and harden. The threads are then stretched out and put through a hot crimping machine, which makes the fibers crinkle. When they cool, they feel soft and fluffy like wool. The fibers are carded, spun, and dyed, then knitted into cloth. The cloth is then brushed hard on one side to make it fluff up. Your fleece jacket keeps out chilly winds. Zip it up and stay snug. What are your boots made out of? Rain boots are made from rubber, a juice that comes from a tree. Rubber trees grow in hot, rainy forest. Inside their bark flows a sticky white juice called latex. Every day, workers make a long cut in the bark of each tree. It's called tapping. So the latex runs down and drips into a cup. The latex is then mixed with acid. This makes a lumpy mixture that is poured into molds. It sets and dries into hard blocks. The blocks of rubber are taken to a factory and pushed through hot rollers. This is done over and over again until the rubber is in soft, stretchy sheets. As it gets smoother, colors are mixed in. When the rubber is put through another roller and rolled out into thinner sheets, boot shapes are cut from the sheets. The shapes are pressed around a boot mold, and their edges are heated together to melt them. They melt together. So pull on your rain boots and stomp in the puddles. Your boots are waterproof, so your feet stay dry. Recycling facts. Do you have clothes that you've grown out of or just don't love anymore? In the richer parts of the world, people throw away millions of tons of clothes every year. That's a waste. Don't just dump those clothes, recycle them. Give them to a friend or family member. Use the cloth to make useful things like toys, a blanket, or a bag. Take them to a thrift shop. Turn them into something new. Cut down old jeans to make into shorts or a skirt. So I hope everyone enjoyed that story about where do your clothes come from. Maybe you didn't know that some of your sweaters can come from a sheep to get from the wool, that your jeans come from a plant. Did you know that? Silk for some party dresses come from a type of caterpillar. Those are some very interesting facts. So see what you have, and also the sports clothes. It's made from synthetic or man-made fibers.